Thank you for your interest in becoming an extended essay supervisor. This presentation will explain your role as a supervisor. So first of all, what is the extended essay? It's a 4,000-word research paper that students complete on their own time, and hopefully is something that they are passionate and enthusiastic about, that they can really delve into for about a year's length of time. Students develop important transferable skills like researching, critical thinking, and most importantly, self-management. And there's a lot of emphasis placed on engagement and reflection as opposed to just the final finished paper itself. So some of the expectations for the supervisor: first of all, and probably most important, you're a good encourager. So as students come to you and they're asking questions, you're going to be as encouraging as possible is very helpful. You're going to help them with their topic and help them formulate their RQ, that stands for research question. You'll need to be familiar with the assessment criteria, and so that'll be something that Julianne and I will give you if you decide to become a supervisor. You'll monitor the progress and ensure authenticity, because there will be a spot at the end that you will actually check off and say you believe this is the student's work. You'll read and comment only on one completed draft. You'll read and predict the grade for the final essay, and then you'll complete a supervisor's report, which is just a few sentences about your work with the student. It's also strongly recommended that you read the extended essay subject guide for the subject that the student is working in, and that again would be provided by Jenny. You'll spend 3 to 5 hours over about a year with your student, and that includes the things like the reading of it. You'll ensure that the research question is appropriate for the subject. You'll advise students on resources and documentation, and you'll conduct a short interview, which we call the viva voce, with the student and coordinator at the end of the project. So reflection is a very important thing during the extended essay, and it really shows the students' progress in how they're doing their planning and research and how they're identifying what's valuable information and what's not. And so that's something that they'll be doing a lot of. And one of the ways that they do that is through an informal reflection space called the Researcher Reflection Space, or RRS for short. And they generally, and what we've recommended for them, is that they have a 3-ring binder where they're keeping their thoughts, and there should be something that they'll bring to meetings with you so that they can show how they're thinking about things. They could use mind maps, or they should be writing questions to themselves or to you on it. And then they'll have some formal reflections as well, and these actually get submitted to the International Baccalaureate Organization. And the actual form is called the RRPF, Reflections on Research and Planning form. And there's going to be 3 separate mandatory supervisor reflection sessions. And so the student will reflect after those sessions. So of those 3 to 5 hours that you spend with students, one of them being the viva voce, this is where the student will reflect. So it's not for you to reflect, it's for them to reflect. And they reflect on this form, and it's actually part of their grade. It's, I believe, 6 points of their overall grade for their extended essay. So it's a substantial amount of their report. So here's a few things about what you can and can't do as a supervisor. You're not actually there to edit, so you're not going through piece by piece doing big edits of it. It's not that you're like grading this report because it's in your class. You're just doing some guiding comments. So rather than like crossing off a statement and saying this is bad or avoid doing this, you could say something like, your research question led me to believe X, but I'm reading more about Y. Or, oh, take notes on all of this as we talk. Those are all good things to just add questions for them without being too leading. So again, we're not supposed to edit, not even verbally, the paper. So you can't say things like, you can correct your weak analysis by writing this. What you could write is, I was confused by your analysis in paragraph 3. So we want to be careful to really allow the students to come to their understandings of what should be in their report or not. So things that a supervisor should not do. One, you're not doing the research for your supervisee. You don't have to be an expert in the thing that they're researching. You shouldn't be telling the supervisee what sources to use. You shouldn't actually be editing the drafts like we just covered. You shouldn't be correcting their bibliographies or their citations. And you definitely shouldn't be chasing down the supervisees for meetings. They should always be the ones that are going to you if and when it is time for them to meet with you. So right now the students are just working down on narrowing down what their interests are and then what their research question would be. And that's where you'll come in for the Extended Essay World Cafe, and you'll hopefully help them out a bit in narrowing down their topics even more. Their first formal reflection, if you become an Extended Essay Supervisor, has to be completed by January 17th. So students would bring to you, if you're their supervisor, their researcher reflection space, where they'd have a whole bunch of reflections and hopefully some questions that they would ask you written down as well. And the student should really be the one leading the meeting. It's not something that you should be preparing for. Their first reflection, again, is due on 1/17. Once that's handed in, they also have to send or give you a copy that you'll just read and sign off and make sure that their reflection is a clear indication of what you talked about with